And so Jesus came, and now he says now, you don't have to go to Jerusalem. You don't have to go to a temple to go pray or to go meet me. It says, wherever I am or wherever you are in me, you can break into worship. You can break into prayer. Because if you're in a place where there is a prayer, there is a praise, there's worship, and there is miracle, and Jesus is not there, you are in the wrong place. You are in the wrong place. A lot of times we think it's about miracles. I was teaching a class earlier today, talking to them about John the Baptist. Jesus said John the Baptist was the greatest of all time. He called him the GOAT. I mean, that's what we call him, right? Greatest of all time. Jesus literally says, John the Baptist was greater than anyone who ever lived. Matthew chapter 11. Greater than Moses. Greater than Elijah. Abraham. I mean, Jesus, it wasn't any of the apostles. Jesus said there is no one ever who lived greater than John the Baptist. Why? Because it was the only one who clearly pointed everyone to Jesus. He says everybody else, they did miracle, they raised the dead, but they didn't point you enough to me. I always wondered, I'm like, John the Baptist didn't raise nobody from the dead. How is it greater than Elijah? How is it greater than Elisha? It didn't part the Red Sea. And Jesus says, no one that ever lived is as great as John the Baptist. Because everybody else did the miracle. But John the Baptist kept saying, there is one who is coming. There is one who is coming, who is going to anoint you and baptize you. It was the one who clearly pointed people to Jesus. And Jesus says, that's the most important thing. Whoever points people to me is the greatest in my kingdom. It says, but now, because he said some wrong things to God, and he was offended because he was in prison. Jesus didn't come to rescue him, and so he got offended. And Jesus now says the least in the kingdom now is greater than John the Baptist. Do you know what that means? The least in the kingdom, he was the greatest of all time because he pointed everybody to Jesus. And now after this whole thing happened, Jesus says the least in the kingdom, literally just saying the smallest person in me is greater than the biggest person outside of me. Jesus will often just say things and point us to little children. All he's trying to emphasize is it's not about your physical size. It's not about what you have. It's not about how you look. It's not about what you have. The smallest, no matter how small you are, no matter what's the little you have, if it's in Jesus, it's a lot. That's the point. It's a lot. Anything you have outside of Jesus, no matter how much the word says you have this great talent and gift, and if it's not in Christ, you don't have anything. But if you have something small, but it's in Christ, Christ is the multiplier. It makes everything bigger. I always say in my home church here, I say, God is too big. You don't need big for him to do big. Can you imagine if a big God needs a big thing for him to do big things in your life? He just needs you small. It says if you can say to this mountain, be ye removed, or if you have a faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to a big mountain. Look at what he did there. He pointed them to a smallest thing, the smallest, very tiny seed, and says you can use the small thing to move something so big, because it's not about what you have, it's about who you have. It's about who you have.